Hey y'all, Bart with Bicycle Rider YouTube, and I am out here ripping through a trail system here at Tanner Hill State Park on a Diamondback Release 3. So anyway, I wanted to do a little raw video, something real, and this is about as real as it gets. As I'm ripping through the trails at speed, I came across this branch here, so that made me stop. I'm like, let me talk about the Diamondback Release as we speak. So let me get the camera turned around. I'll point to it, maybe talk about a few things on it. So this is the Diamondback Release 3. This is a bike that Diamondback has built. Let me start with the frame. It's aluminum frame, and the aluminum frame is a high quality frame, and it's built on what's called a level link suspension. So this is a kind of a 4-bar horse suspension that I can tell you, after riding this bike for 4 days straight on multiple conditions, this design works. It's very fast, but yet efficient and super playful. So it's doing kind of what a trail bike should do. A trail bike should be able to do multiple types of trails with and handling all of those things well. And it's hard to be kind of a Swiss Army knife of a bike. But the Diamondback is really doing it well. You can see it's got some higher end components. I do a lot of reviews on Specialized. I do a lot of reviews on Marin and other bikes, and I do like Specialized a lot. I actually race a carbon fiber Specialized Epic. I ride a Marin Rift Zone quite a bit as a trail bike, and I'm really starting to gravitate more towards trail riding than just cross-country racing, just because of the time in the bike shop. And I do, you know, here on the front of my shirt you'll see Biloxi Bicycle Works and Govvelo. I'm co-owner of Biloxi Bicycle Works. I work in that bike shop, you know, 6 days a week, and Govvelo is our online platform. So I do sell these bikes, but I don't sell things I don't believe in. I've been an accountant for 25 years. My reputation is on what I sell. And if I sell junk or something that's bargain basement, I dump my retirement into the bike shop. So I got to be there 17 years from now. I've got to look people in the eye. And the Diamondback is a brand that I've known for years. You know, I grew up racing Diamondback bikes. I haven't ridden a whole lot of Diamondback until like last year. For some reason, just haven't really paid much attention to Diamondback. I think they went direct to consumer, and sometimes when a brand does that, it devalues their reputation. But their Diamondback is back. I don't know if they ever left, but I ran into them at the Big Gear Show last year in Park City and gave Diamondback another try, and they're a fabulous bike. I mean, this is a full XT build. So it's an XT drivetrain. So it's got XT cranks, and it does have XT rear derailleur. The cassette is a 51-10, gives me awesome gear ranges. And the front is a 34, and it shifts absolutely awesome. I ride a lot of SRAM NX stuff, a lot of SX stuff. I ride a lot of bikes, but there's nothing better than a high quality build like XT. It's expensive. So are the suspension components they put on this bike. This is the Fox DPX2 Fox Performance. So it does have the extra volume canister in it, and this it's got the grip dampening, 3-position dampening sensor. I'm using all 3 positions of this dampening system as I ride, and they really do make a difference. It's easy to just reach down and click the dampener to change the ride. And of course, we've got a Fox Performance 34 on front. So this is high-end stuff. This fork really, let me show you some of these roots. It's just a little root right here I'm showing you. But this fork really does absorb a lot of the roots and rocks and stuff that surprise you on a trail system. But yet, super efficient, super fast, and lightweight when it comes to the cross-country stuff that you're seeing. The Shimano Xt Brakes, you don't get much better than Shimano Xt. I mean, I've had that on my race bike for like 5 race seasons, and I've never had to touch them. It's really nice having a 180 millimeter brake rotors, so this bike stops on a dime, but it's not super heavy. The KS Lev dropper seat post with a soft paw lever, and my finger is constantly on this button. I'm moving gosh, I'm moving this button all the time, depending on, you can see I'm even using it right now to prop it up against this. There's so many ways where a dropper seat post, and especially a very smooth operating dropper seat post, just enhances the ride. You might notice externally routed cables. So right now, a lot of bike companies have gone to internal routing. It makes things look clean. As someone who works on bikes all the time, a bicycle mechanic, externally routed cables are nice. If I have to change something on the fly, there's nothing worse than getting a pre-bled set of nice brakes and having to cut the line to run it through a cable and then re-bleed the brakes. If you're out like I am, I'm on 5 days of vacation, I don't get much of it. If something happens to a brake line or something, I can easily go buy another whole unit, put this on this bike and have it going in 15 minutes without a bleed kit. So there's limited room in my van. I'm traveling right now. I've just got minimal tools. And externally routed cables does have a plus for sure. It might not look as aesthetically pleasing, but a lot of times, we're bicycle riders. We're not doing this for looks. We're doing it because we love it. And when you've got to take time to go into town to buy a part, and then you can't fix it yourself, and the bike shop is so slammed they can't take time to bleed your brakes, and it does take a lot to cut a line, fish it through a frame set, and then bleed the brakes. So let me not go into that, but just know that externally routed cables actually are a good thing. And for a mechanic's perspective or on a bike vacation, you can fix things, really easy. And you never know when something's going to happen and you need to, change a derailleur cable or a brake cable or a brake hydraulic line. And this is super simple. You zip tie it and off you go. So having externally routed cables actually is a really good thing. Let me talk about this is a Diamondback branded wheel. It's a Blanchard wheel, they call it. When I set this bike up tubeless, I couldn't believe the weight of these wheels. They're light. A lot of stock wheels are not as light as this. I don't have a scale, but I just know when I put them in my hand, they were light. Diamondback gave me all the extras to set this thing up tubeless. It was already pre-taped. They gave me the valve stems, and they're removable core valve stems. So a lot of bike companies are sending you with valve stems that don't have a removable core. That's a pain in the butt when you're setting things up tubeless. So everything I needed, this bike set up tubeless, really easy. Another thing they gave me was a spare derailleur hanger, carbon grease, nice flat pedals, not junky cheap flat pedals, a shock pump. So a lot of times when I sell a full suspension mountain bike, I have to sell a shock pump with that as well. 30, 40, 50 bucks. This came with a shock pump. It came with everything I need to build up this bike and ride it, and I'm riding it right now. It came with ergon grips. So I sell these grips in my store. They're like a $40 grip. They're lock-on ergon grips. They work really well. This little short stem, the factor stem, keeps things super poppy. So this bike is super fun to just pop the front end up, whip the tail around. Really nice setup. About the only thing I don't like about it is the bottle cage mount is on the bottom. But if you look at most mountain bike riders that aren't cross-country racing, most just trail riders, most people are using a Camelback or a hydration pack of some sort. I've got an Osprey I'm using. Diamondback doesn't overbrand their stuff, so it's got just a Diamondback on the frame and kind of a Diamondback on the down tube here, and that's just it. This is a spearmint mint color. Not my favorite color, but man, it's kind of really grown on me, and I get a lot of compliments on it. So Diamondback's put together a great bike. This is June of 2022, and this bike's coming in at $4,000. This bike rivals a lot of bikes when it comes to functionality, build quality, and rideability. This bike is comparing itself to bikes in the $6,000, $7,000 mark. Now, this is an aluminum frame with high-end components. Some people want a carbon high-end frame with lower components. If you can get a frame that does what it's supposed to do, and obviously the level link suspension is doing what it's supposed to do. This is kind of it's a more expensive suspension system to build and design, but Diamondback has done it and put this whole bike into a package that's around $4,000 at the time of this video. It's friggin' awesome value. And as a guy that sells this bike, so I sell this bike on Govvelo and I sell it in Biloxi Bicycle Works, I could look people in the eye and say it friggin' rides great. I've been riding this bike for 4 or 5 days. Before I brought it into the bike shop, I rode this bike in Park City, Utah. And I'm able to offer my customers a high quality build on a platform that really works at a great price. So $4,000 and you get all of this. And it's a bike that does multiple things good. So sometimes if you're, going down that rabbit hole on the internet and you're looking at specs and head tube angles and seat tube angles and how much suspension I can get, some people are buying bikes that aren't efficient. And you go out and ride with your buddies and you might have a little bit more suspension that you're never going to use. And that suspension is taking up your energy and you end up in the back of the pack blowing up, not having any fun. Buy a bike that's got great components that work friggin' phenomenal and have a reputation of just being fantastic, and you'll have a great ride. You're not going to be stuck in the back of the pack. You're going to be efficient, so when you get back to the truck or whatever, the trailhead, you're going to be in a good mood. You're going to be talking. You're going to be ready for the next ride. If you're totally blowing up every time you ride because you can't keep up with your friends, you probably bought the wrong bike. You brought too much suspension. Your head tube angles are too extreme. And you bought a bike that's made to point downhill all the time. This bike is very rowdy downhill. It's very capable downhill. It's got the component package and the suspension to prove it. And it works friggin' phenomenally. But when you've got to climb the hill in a mountain bike, and you got to climb unless you're living in a bike park or something, this bike climbs. When you're at the top of the hill and you're waiting for your buddies, by the time they get there, you're ready to go again. You're wasting time. It's nice to have an efficient bike, and the Diamondback is super efficient. So anyway, this is Bart from Bicycle Rider YouTube doing a real review as I'm riding. I don't care what my hair looks like. I know I'm sweaty and I probably stink, but while I had to stop for this branch, I wanted to give you a review of this bike as is, real time. If you have any questions about the Diamondback Release, or Diamondback, or if you have any questions about mountain biking, if you want to go mountain biking, I mean, I threw it out there. I'll be riding these trails. I had a few people show up for it, and it was great to ride with some of my YouTube viewers and have fun. But we're real. My name is Bart Luther. You can find me on Strava under Bart Luther. You can find me in Biloxi Bicycle Works. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook. I'm Bart Luther. I'm real. I'm 52 years old. I love to ride bikes, and I do sell this bike. So if I didn't like the way this bike rode, I would not sell it. Believe me, my reputation means more to me than a sale. That's why I invite my YouTube viewers out here. I'm not going to advertise something and then not come out here and hold it and ride it and show people why I like this bike. But Diamondback, like I said, is one of those brands that I think is coming on strong and offering a lot of value for the buck. If you're at all interested in a Diamondback, hit me up. I've got a few in stock, or go to your local Diamondback dealer and see if they're as knowledgeable as we are in our shop. If they're out there riding this bike, they're going to be the kind of people you want to buy this bike from. One quick look around on this bike before I call this review done. I know this video's kind of gone over what I was expecting it, but if you're interested in spending $4,000, you want to know about this bike, and this is a bike that I highly recommend, and it's a freaking good looking bike too. So anyway, Bart from Bicycle Rider YouTube, I'm going to finish my ride. I'll catch you guys soon. You guys are welcome to ride with me anytime. Thank you.